Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to our Thursday Kids Only Book Club, sponsored by Hannah's House. Miss Susan is here with you today to do the reading. And as some of you know, we've been focused on families for the last few weeks, human families, animal families, and learning everything we can about all the different kinds of families that there are, both in the human animal family and in the reptile, amphibian, bird, etc. category. So today, remember last week we were learning about Granny's clan. That was a clan of orca whales. And today we're going to be learning about poison arrow frogs. You probably already guessed by the hat on my head. Yeah, we're talking about frogs today. So this is the book that we're going to be reading. It's called Even Frogs Care, and it's about poison arrow frogs. It's also a very special book because a father and daughter wrote this book. And their names are Natalie and Gamina. So they travel a lot because her father is a photographer. He takes pictures of animals and beautiful flowers, birds, etc. And then he makes gorgeous portraits with acrylic from the photographs he's taken. I'm just going to show you one of the portraits that he's done. Now, this was something that he photographed in the Costa Rican rainforest, which is their favorite place to travel. And here is a picture of Gamini and Natalie. One of the things that's very nice is the reason they decided to write the book is because what they learned in studying poison arrow frogs in the rainforest of Costa Rica is that the mommies and the daddies both nurture the babies. And Natalie was so excited to learn this because Natalie has a really strong relationship with both her mommy and her daddy, even though they don't live together. So she was very excited to learn about the habits of the poison arrow frogs when it comes to taking care of their babies. And so let's learn about it right now. In the rainforests of Costa Rica lives a beautiful and tiny little frog. And that frog is called a poison arrow frog. But wait a minute, this one is a strawberry poison arrow frog because it is, gee, what color do you think it is? Think it might be red? Remember the cover? Let's look at it again. It's red. So here's what I want to tell you though, how tiny it is. So this, see that? Now this is a little turtle, it's not a frog. But this little tiny turtle, I'll hold him up here maybe, he is actually 1 inch. Now look at him compared to a little paper clip. That paper clip is actually bigger than the little turtle, and the little turtle is exactly the same size, 1 inch, as a strawberry poison arrow frog. In fact, these guys are so tiny, look at this. They can actually sit inside a little pink mushroom that they find on the floor of the rainforest. Now, this is a picture of mommy sitting there, and I don't know if you can see it, but there's 2 eggs. See them here? Those are 2 eggs that mommy has laid. In fact, these guys are so small. Look at this. Both mommy and daddy can sit in that little tiny mushroom. So that mushroom must be 2 inches around, I would guess, because the 2 of them are 2 inches, right? So this is a story about these 2 little frogs and how they take care of and bring up their babies. So one day mommy lays 2 little eggs, which we just saw in that little tiny pink mushroom. And guess what? The very next day, mama goes hopping away, and look who's left to take care of the baby eggs. It's daddy. So while mommy goes climbing way, way, way up high in the beautiful trees in the rainforest, daddy stays and nurtures and protects those little eggs to make sure that they stay safe, because he wants them to be able to turn into tadpoles and then frogs and have a wonderful life of their own. So while daddy is taking care and protecting them, mommy is actually going up in the tall trees to look for something very special. She's looking for a plant called a bromeliad plant. Now, I want you to think about what a pineapple looks like, not a pineapple out of a can or already cut up, but a whole pineapple where it's got that really cool green top with the leaves that are sort of spiky and stick out all around it. A bromeliad is a member of the same family as the pineapple, and they look similar, except they don't have a fruit. What they have sort of roots, and these roots can grow right on trees in the rainforest, and they can get really, really large. More about that later. So what happens, just 7 days after mommy left the nest, she comes back, daddy hops out, and what does she find? Look, can you see on her back? 2 little teeny tiny, almost bluish, right? Tadpoles. So now what she does, she puts them on her back, and very, very carefully, she climbs that very tall tree that she picked special for them, goes all the way up to the top, and she puts these 2 tiny, tiny tadpoles in a little hole that's at the top of the bromeliad plant. So the leaves are coming out like this, like a pineapple, remember? And then there's a circle in the middle at the bottom of the leaves, and that holds water. In the rainforest, there's almost always water in the little pool at the bottom of the leaves of the bromeliad plant. That is where she puts her tadpoles. Isn't that cool? So now they're way up high in the sky. They're hidden because these bromeliad plants don't grow right out on the end of branches usually. They're sort of hidden because they love the humidity, the wetness, and the coolness of the rainforest. So after she puts them there, guess what happens? There are teeny, tiny, tiny insects in here that we can't even see, but that's what the babies are eating. And see these little tiny dot things? Mommy does something else that's very special. She lays 2 more eggs. Now these eggs don't have babies in them. What these eggs have is nutrition, wonderful, healthy food for the babies. And so these baby tadpoles eat all of the insects that are in the water, and they eat the eggs that mommy's given them because they're packed with protein and carbohydrates and a little fat and all the things that the babies need to be able to change from a tadpole into a frog. See, here's a picture of the babies in the bromeliad pool, and they're eating. Can you see that they have little teeny tiny legs and tails that are starting to form? This is how the tadpole turns into a frog. One day, mommy comes back, and guess what? Look, those are not tadpoles anymore, are they? They're little tiny frogs that look exactly like mommy and daddy, aren't they? So guess what she does? It's time for them now to go down to the forest floor from this big tall tree. How do you think she does that? If you guess that she puts them on her back and carries them down the tree, you were absolutely right. So they get down there, and guess what? Did you notice that those babies already were red with blue legs? So one of the really cool things about these frogs, yes, they are poison, and their bright colors tell other animals that it's not safe to eat them, but they're not born with the poison in them. As these little guys, when they were tiny tadpoles, as they ate the insects and ate the eggs from mommy and slowly turned into little frogs, something very special inside of the poison arrow frog, tadpole, and frog takes all of the nutrients and begins to turn it into poison. So that very slowly, the poison builds up as they become red and strong with really wonderfully strong blue legs. So here's a picture where mommy has taken them down to the forest floor. So mommy hangs around a little bit to make sure what? They can catch food, that they are able to hide themselves to stay safe, and that they know how to find water and moisture, which is absolutely vital for these little frogs to stay healthy. So you know what she does now? Now that her froggies are healthy and hopping around the forest floor and can climb trees and be safe and eat well, she goes back to daddy. She goes back to the daddy of these babies, and guess what happens? The cycle starts all over again. They find a pink mushroom. Mommy lays the eggs. Daddy protects the eggs. Mommy comes back. You know the rest of the story. So let's just look at what that cycle looks like. Okay, remember we started with an egg, and then they turned into tadpoles. And then, because of, remember, all of the great nutrition mommy made sure they had? Look, can you see they're part tadpole now and part frog? And then voila, look, the full-grown frog. Now, I'll tell you, one of the very cool things about poison arrow frogs is this. Remember, they go to those bromeliad plants where they live while they grow up? Well, what you may not know is bromeliad plants can grow so huge in the rainforest that that pool at the bottom of the leaves can hold up to 2 gallons of water. Now, I'm going to show you. Here's 1 gallon of water. So one of those plants can hold 2 of these. If you want to check it out, have mommy and daddy show you. 2 gallons. And you know what? Try to pick it up. Try to pick up 2 gallons of water. You'll find out that it's a lot of weight to pick up. And that gives you a sense of how strong these plants are. Way up high in the forest, sitting on a limb, holding 2 gallons of water. So the other thing that is really cool about these poison arrow frogs, of course, they're cool because mommy and daddy work together to keep them safe and raise them. But the other thing that is cool is they come in all different kinds of colors, right? And so what I'm going to encourage you to do, color whatever color poison arrow frog you want today, because mommy or daddy can show you all different pictures of all different colors poison arrow frogs. So remember the name of the book? Even Frogs Care. This is one of those wonderful animal families where the mommy and daddy work together to raise the babies. And not all animal families do that, just like in human families, right? Some human families, mommies and daddies raise the kids, and some human families, mommies or daddies, or sometimes mommies and daddies, but they don't live together, which is sort of like the poison arrow frogs, right? They take care of the babies, but they don't live together, right? Okay, so what I would like to make sure that you know is that if mommy or daddy wants to send in the artwork you do today, they can send that to our email, info@hannahs-house.org, and only put your age on it. Don't put any names. Now, if you want to say that you're a boy or a girl, you can do that. So you can put boy, 4 years old, girl, 8 years old, or whatever it is. Send them in, and you just might find your artwork on our website one of these days. All right. Have a wonderful week, kids, and definitely tune in again next week. Next week, we're going to be learning about some baby snowy owls, and we're going to learn about one of the grown-up snowy owls who flew far, far away into a whole strange land. All right, I'll see you next week. Have a great week, you guys. And thank you so much for joining me today. I can't wait to see your artwork. Bye-bye.